Hi, I'm Giulio Tonellato. I'm a new PhD student at Polytechnique Montreal, and I'm going to present you today the first part of my PhD project that regards the energy modeling in a primary school in Mirabel and its validation with real data. The context is about the school of Mirabel, the primary school of Clé-des-Champ in Mirabel. Um, uh, this school is going to be renovated this summer and is switching from an oil boiler to standing column wells heat pumps and an electric boiler as an auxiliary system. Standing column well, it's a puits de colonne permanente in French. So there will be a decarbonization of this building, and but there is still some problems with this technology because it still presents high electric peak demands. So the objective of my project is to reduce this electric peak demand, and this can be done with an optimization, an optimization of the control that can lead to savings on both capital and operational costs. This project will use predictive control, and as the word says, predictive is based on a prediction, on the energy need of the building. So knowing how the building will behave and how much heating need there will be, it is possible to control the system as better as possible. This can be achieved thanks to an energy model of the building. Here you can see the photo the school that I analyzed and its location that is near Montreal. Other schools, however, will follow to amplify the study and to better validate the results. Here you can see that my general objective is as said, the reduced electric power demand during peak periods of this technology, and therefore the cost associated with the standing column well heat pumps, and therefore also increasing its efficiency. Here you can see the specific objectives of my PhD project. And the first step is what I've done and what I'm going to present you today. That is the 3D dynamic energy modeling of the school. Then there will be a development of the model of the geothermal heat pump, and that is integrated then with the building to have the predictive control. Afterwards, there will be an optimization processing, so that will be useful to identify which are the best strategies to operate the building. And at the end, there will be the data monitoring and collection from the real-world installations in the schools. This will help to calibrate and validate furthermore the model. So this is methodology of my first part of my PhD project, and it all begins with the 3D modeling of the school, like you can see here in the image. I've modeled the whole school within more thermal zones on both the floors, and then I associated every surface, every window to a certain thermal characteristic. To have these thermal characteristics, I had to collect such data, the structural data of the school, of course, but also the thermal properties of the materials, and also all the data regarding the ventilation system. So how the air is changed inside the building. And then I also had to collect all the data that are associated with the usage of the school. So, for example, for the people, lights, and equipment. All these three factors produce heat and have an impact on the energy need. And then I set up all the old model in Transys, that is a dynamic energy modeling software. The results of this model needed to be validated through real data. So I had to reconstruct the curve of the real world energy use of the past years, starting from bills. And of course, the final step is the validation and calibration of the model. So you can see here the reconstruction of the real world energy data for the fuel oil that is called mazout. So in the upper graph, you can see the raw data I had at the beginning. So single deliveries in single days over the past 5 years. I had to redistribute and these deliveries and to understand how much mazout has been used every day in the school. So my hypothesis has been that every delivery was filling up the storage in the building, And therefore, every delivery represented the consumption of the period that stands between that delivery and the previous one. So, and in the part below, you can see, in fact, the results of this redistribution. And here, this redistribution has been made thanks to a proportion to the heating degree days. The heating degree days is a measure of how much the building will need to be heated. And it is the difference between 18 degrees and the daily average temperature. So you can see here an example I made. So you can see, for example, here that we have 7,300 liters that needs to be redistributed in this period of time. And the result is this one in below. And you can see that, of course, the majority of the consumptions are during the winter, when the heating degree days are more. Then the oil boiler is also in the school that is also supported with an electric boiler that also heat the building. And therefore, I had to reconciliate these two consumptions and to add them. So, for example, you can see here, I returned in the slide before, you can see here that there are years in which the mazout consumption is really low and others in which it is really high. That's because when it is really low, electricity is used for heating instead of the fuel oil. So I had to take all the bills of the electricity. You can see here the data, the monthly data in blue, and this is the raw that I had. So that's basically the monthly electricity consumption. Then I had to distinguish the electricity that is used for heating and for other purposes. So what I've done is consider June as the month in which the school is operative. So there are still electricity usage, but it's only associated with other purposes and not heating. So what I've done is to reduce every month by the amount of energy consumption of June. So you can see here that the red curve is basically as the same shape as the blue one, but is reduced. And once I obtained some results, I had to calibrate the model, and I've seen that the ground temperature has a really huge impact on the energy modeling of the building. And therefore, I had to implement a so-called ground coupling. That is a dynamic model that is capable of estimating the ground temperature dynamically and so in a realistic way. And it's really important because the school is horizontal, is big, but it's also horizontal, and so the ground temperature is really important to be realistic. And here you can see the results. So the first results I obtained were largely overestimating the real energy use. It's 53% more. Even if I was considering the heating that is totally switched off during nights and weekends, but without any ground coupling or any consideration of holidays. Then after I considered ground coupling, holidays, and I recalibrated my model, I obtained the latest results here. You can see in the graph. So in purple, there is my transit simulation, so my model. And in green, you can see the real energy use, that is the sum of the electricity and fuel oil consumption I shown you before. So there is still a bit of overestimation, but between 12% and 20% each year. But the seasonal patterns seems to be well represented, so the results are promising. And then I also evaluated the key factors that are impacting the energy modeling. And there are not only the key factors that are associated with the structure and geometry of the building itself, but also its operation. And I noticed that, for example, with a different night and weekend holidays set point temperature, that is a temperature that is kept during night and weekends, you can achieve energy saving of 13% when passing from 21 degrees, so heating that was always switched on, to 17 degrees during nights and weekends, and a reduction of 22.5% when passing from 21 degrees to 1 degree. 1 degree, it means that it's always switched off. Then I also analyzed the impact of fresh air rate of the ventilation system. So for example, when passing from 15% of the, because there is also some recirculation in the ventilation system, so not all the air is fresh, but when passing from 15% to 20%, there's been an 8% impact on the energy use. And the same when reducing the fresh air. From 15% to 10%, there has been a reduction of 8% on energy use. So it's also important to consider all the parameters of the building when it comes to energy modeling. So also its operation. My conclusion is that I obtained realistic building energy modeling of the school, and the seasonal pattern seems to be really realistic and resembles the curve of the real energy use. And this has been also possible thanks to the estimation redistribution I made of the real consumption. That's revealed consistency with the weather, so with the heating degree days. Of course, I said that there is still some overestimation, but the results are promising, and this model will be furthermore refined and calibrated, of course. And the latest results obtained reveal that this overestimation may be caused also by the weather files I used. Despite the impacts of my project are the next step of my PhD project, because what I presented you here is just the first step, but these results will be really useful for the next part, that is the optimization and the predictive control of the standing column wells, geothermal heat pumps, in the school. And this predictive control will allow to reduce the electric peak and to increase the energy efficiency of the standing column wells, geothermal heat pumps, and therefore reducing both investment and operational costs. All these results will be then furthermore validated through many installations of this type of system in Quebec and in different schools. And I want finally to thank all the sponsors that you can see here in the slide that have financed both the research activities and installation of the geothermal heat pumps. And I want also to thank the Comité de Services Scolaires, the CSSMI, and the engineer Guillaume Marchand, because they provided me all the data I needed to run my simulations. So if you have any questions,